Hey buns of the future, I am recording from the past. Well, I'm always recording from the past, but today for me is September 29th and I just experienced the media tour yesterday and I just had to record my first impressions video. I really have so much to say. I want to talk about it with you, my raw first initial impressions. Now, this is not intended to be a comprehensive review of changes, and all that stuff will come later, or we'll probably release around the same time as this video. Basically, it was a remote deal. It wasn't, we didn't go anywhere because of COVID, so the media tour was done completely remotely. I got 6 hours to play Endwalker, and let me tell you, that time flew by, and while I was playing, they were recording all the footage. So they have all the footage, they have all the screenshots that I took, and I haven't got that yet because, I mean, they still need to like get it out to everybody. So I haven't even had a chance to like look carefully and closely at everything that I saw, but I still wanted to make this video. Basically, my first impressions, tell you what my experience was like as a player. So yeah, first thing that comes to mind is Reaper, of course, like the new jobs, but Reaper really stole my heart, I gotta say. I mean, I think I was, before I did the media tour, I was waiting for Endwalker. Like, I was like, oh, it's, you know, about 2 months away. That's fine. I can wait a little. And now that I've played Reaper, this is so much worse. Like, it's so much painful for me to wait the 50 days or whatever it is from now. Well, when you're watching this, it will be less time. But yeah, it seemed at first glance to be very complicated, but you get a little play of it and it's very intuitive. It's very straightforward. It seemed like not hard really from, at least on a dummy, and at least from my like initial thoughts on how it's meant to be played. But basically, like, you fill up a red bar and the red bar lets you cast a spell that gives you a buff. And you use the spell to cast another spell, and you use those other spells to summon or like become the demon form, which looks amazing, by the way. It's really cool how like it still looks like you, it looks like your character, but you really have just been transformed a bit. And by the way, if you happen to be playing a Keeper of the Moon McQDuck, then you can see her fangs. That's the only character that I'm aware of, besides Hrothgar, I guess now, that has the fangs, and it looks really cool on Keeper of the Moon McQDuck. Though I have to say, I think that the Vieira looked pretty good too, but I mean, Vieira always looks good, which we'll talk about in a minute. I wanted to like try to keep this somewhat organized of a video, not be all over the place, but I loved Reaper. I could not stop playing it, which was kind of a problem because we only had 6 hours to play, and I just did not want to stop playing Reaper at all. I did a dungeon as Reaper, and it's very flashy. It is, like I said, it doesn't have a lot of positionals. That was the number one thing I was real worried about with Reaper. I thought it was going to be very positional heavy. Nope. There are like 2 positionals, and they're not buttons that you're pressing all the time. So if you're a person that doesn't like to constantly do positionals, but doesn't mind a little bit of it, it's very good. And that fits the bill for me. That is exactly what I had hoped for Reaper, and I think it has the least positionals out of any melee. I absolutely loved it. I think everybody will like it. I don't think anyone will have a terrible time. Anyway, I also played Sage, of course, and Sage, I mean, I probably am not gonna be maining it, but I'm not a healer player. And when I play healers, I tend to prefer the regen healers. I like healers with lots of panic buttons. I like Wide Mage, and I like Astrologian, which I'll talk about a little bit in a sec. Sage, at first glance, seemed rather complicated to me. It seemed rather complex, but I think that there are gonna be people that really enjoy that complexity and are going to be really happy about that, because it is unique in the sense that you pick someone as your dance partner. I say dance partner, but Cardia, I think, is the buff you put on somebody, and then all the damage you do will heal them, just like Disc Priest and WoW. And that's a really cool mechanic, but I feel like it does add a layer of complexity that you need to be aware of, and there were just so many different buttons. It was a little overwhelming. I think maybe it's just, first of all, they gave us level 90 characters, and so that can be a lot to process, and I'm not super experienced with Scholar, for example, another barrier healer. I mean, I have the basic idea of the skills. But maybe I just needed more time with it. I need more practice. I did do a little bit of the dungeon on Sage, and I did not have any problem healing it. But then again, the dungeon seemed to be a little undertuned. I guess I'll talk about the dungeon in a second as well. Overall, Sage looks extremely cool. The spell effects are awesome. The sound effects are incredible. They're very like space age sci-fi sound effects, and I think that people are gonna really love it, especially people that like a little bit more complexity in their jobs. But I don't know if it's for me. That's all. I don't think. But I'm not a healer main, so I'm probably gonna not place. I'll level it, but I'm not gonna main it at all. Like there's no way I'm gonna main it. I had a lot more fun on Reaper personally. Now, as for the other jobs that I looked over, like I said, I'm not trying to do a list of changes here. This is just my first impressions and stuff that really stuck out to me, stuff I enjoyed the most or didn't enjoy the most. I loved a summoner. I loved it. However, I do kind of feel like maybe I'm missing something. Okay, maybe I'm missing something. Maybe I'm wrong. But I kind of feel like there are going to be long-time Summoner players who will not be happy with the changes. And that is because, to me, it seems Summoner is quite easy to understand now. It seems very straightforward. Like, it seemed like Dancer level difficulty. Unless I'm, like I said, unless I'm missing something. Like, I'm not an expert. But I felt like I had a pretty decent idea of what all the buttons did and how they would fit in. Maybe the difficulty will come with the theory crafting and the optimization. I mean, that always is going to be a factor. Optimizing any job in Final Fantasy 14 is going to add a lot of difficulty and complexity. But I just know that Summoner historically was one of the more complicated jobs. And I feel like in the past, it did attract certain people that really enjoyed that complexity about Summoner. And I feel like those people are probably not gonna be too stoked with just how easy it now appears to be, at least at first glance. However, all of that said, it is super fun to play, and it is like, it really does feel like Summoner, like Final Fantasy Summoner, I feel like always should have felt. You are constantly cycling through these big ass summons that like feel substantial, and then they affect the type of spells that you can cast. You know, you bring down Titan, and then you've got the mountain squish ability. And so I had a blast playing Summoner. And I think that most people will really, really enjoy Summoner. I think we're going to see a ton of new Summoner players now. Summoner does seem to have some interesting flexibility now with rotation, where you can choose which primal you want to summon first. Like you can decide, do I want Titan first, Garuda first, Ifrit first, or like what order you want to do it in. And maybe some interest will come when you're looking at different encounters and trying to figure out what's the best primal to summon in this situation. So I'm looking forward to seeing how it plays in high-end content. I really can't stress enough, though, how different Summoner feels. Like, it absolutely feels like a completely new job, and it might be a little jarring. But I think it's good. I think it's very, very positive. I definitely would not want it to go back to the way it was before, but that's my personal preference. I kind of ran out of time a little bit with a lot of the job testing, because I got hooked on Reaper hard, and I really just wanted to keep playing Reaper, and I had to force myself to. I saw there was like an hour and a half left, and I was like, crap. I really need to stop. Like, I need to look at all the different job changes. So I did do that. Don't worry. Like, there will be the job change video coming, because I did get a chance to look at every single job and see the different changes that were made. But for the most part, the other jobs seem to get some quality of life changes. Nothing like really insane. Nothing like that's going to be really jarring, really, really different. Just stuff that's going to make the character feel better to play. Like, my main for Shadowbringers was Dancer, and the changes to improvisation are amazing. The changes to, like, you get another button to press after you press Devilment. I really like that. And I'm not going to get into all that right now, because I feel like if I do, this will turn into, like, me listing all the changes, and I don't have the footage here. I don't have the resources that I need to properly do that. So I'm going to stop myself. I will just say that overall, I'm really happy with all the changes that I've seen. And when it comes to jobs, the love of my life right now is Reaper, and I cannot wait till the game comes out so I can get a chance to play it again. Everybody everybody's gonna be playing that job. As for the dungeon that I got to play, the Tower of Zot, I did that with Trust, and the Trust definitely seems smarter. I saw Thancred like pulling extra mob. You know, like he had a little pack of mobs, and then there's this straggler out here, and he used Provoke, and he brought the little straggler out down to our group so we could AoE all the mobs together. So Thancred has gotten another wrinkle in his noodle, it seems. And so that was really good. The dungeon itself, like basically, if you had already seen the dungeon walkthrough video that they posted a while back, then you've seen the whole dungeon. Like there's nothing in there that's going to be like super surprising or different. Like we've pretty much seen all that's in there. However, it does look really, really cool. And I enjoyed the bosses. I thought the music though. Oh, the music though. The boss music is super, super, super cool. I guess it's a weird comparison to make, but I've been playing a lot of Hades lately, and the boss music reminded me of the boss music from Hades a little bit. Those kind of already been a theme. Like we tend to have like the rock music for battle music, or at least we did in Shadowbringers for the bosses, and so I love that. The dungeon music itself was awesome. All the music that I heard was, of course, top tier, but at this point we don't even expect anything less from this game. But I really enjoyed the dungeon, and Kryl did say something spoilery in the beginning of it, so I will blur that out. Don't worry. So if you see my footage from the dungeon, I will blur out her spoilers. As for the zones that I got to explore, first I started out in Old Sharlayan, and I did my best to explore every nook and cranny of Old Sharlayan. Like I probably spent too much time doing that, and I was trying to get into places that I wasn't supposed to be. But they did a very, very thorough job of not only making sure I can get into anything I'm not supposed to be in, but also silencing every NPC. Like the little conversations that NPCs are having, it was just ... I would try to click on NPCs and like it just wouldn't respond, or they would just say hello only. So they were pretty thorough, making sure that I couldn't get any story spoilers at all. But overall, the city is huge. It is just so giant. Like I don't think we've ever had a city the size of Old Sharlayan. Like it is absolutely ridiculously giant. I couldn't see where the market board was, so that's a question mark for me. And there was a part that I wonder if someday they might make into player housing, but we should probably not even worry about that right now. So I saw Old Sharlayan. It was the other thing. First of all, about Old Sharlayan, you cannot mount there, which sucks, because I was hoping that there would at least be some area there where we could mount by the Aetheryte so we could show off our mounts. But no, you cannot do that. And the music, I was worried that like Idleshire being like another Sharlayan settlement, it would have like similar music to Idleshire. That is bagpipes, perhaps. And don't get me wrong, bagpipes are fine. I don't have any problem with bagpipes. Okay, but it's just like after I've heard the bagpipes music so many times, like it just really started to grate on me. Okay, I was worried that the case would be for Sharlayan, but no, the song for day and night in Sharlayan is very chill. I did visit Thavnair. Thavnair is another pretty giant zone. Thavnair is where the dungeon is. And we fought the three sisters that are the reference to FF4, three sisters in there. And I already talked about the dungeon though. Thavnair itself, very cool nighttime music. I really like the nighttime music. Very cool sunset ambience, because that's something that I hadn't seen before. I liked the river that's kind of muddy. I liked, I tried to get over, there's like a giant bridge, and I think it takes you to Radzatan. I think it takes you to the town, but they don't let you go. They didn't let us go to the town, like that was closed off still. So I tried, but I was unable to get into Radzatan. like I said, I kept trying to get into places I wasn't supposed to be. And Garla Mawled, I did explore. Garla Mawled, so I'm sort of mixed feelings on it because I feel like maybe just them having to remove all the story stuff and all the story references from Garla Mawled made it feel really, really empty. But it seemed small and very, very empty. Like, aesthetically, it's incredible. It is super, super creepy and eerie. It feels like post-World War II, like, bombed-out city. It is... There's only machines left, basically. And the vibe in there is very unique. I don't think there's anything else like it. Like, I remember noticing that there were roads, actual roads. Like, I don't think we've seen roads before in Fallout 14, like with the markings on the roads that are destroyed pretty much. So it just felt a little small. And there is this giant menacing tower in the middle, and I just wondered if, like, is the tower going to be connected with Garla Mawled at some point? What are we going to do with this zone? Like, just looking at the zone itself, there wasn't much to do or see. But there was a couple of fates, though. The first thing that I did, actually, whenever I got into the media tour, was record all of the bunny boy emotes. And so that video will be coming out around the same time as this one, I suppose. This one might be the first one that I post, and then you'll see all the others. But that was my first order of business, to see all the emotes, and overall, obviously, they're perfect. I mean, they're absolutely flawless and perfect. So, I mean, in case you're wondering, bunny boys are perfect. More news at 11. There are limited hats still. It seemed like, at least based on all of the job gear, the level 90 job gear, the hats options was limited in the exact same way that it is currently limited. Yes, you can wear a Reaper hood hat type thing, like that worked, but most other helmets and hats did not work. Circlets, of course, worked, and eye patches and things like that did work, goggles, but kind of the same old song and dance if you already play Viera and you understand what those limitations are like. I did check to see if at the character creator you could have different hairstyles available for Viera, and that did not seem to be the case, at least as of the media tour, but however, who knows, anything can change later. Because we do know that new hairstyles will be made available for Viera based on what we saw from the ninja art, or for the ninja job gear that they showed us. There's the Viera with a different hairstyle, so I think that's indication that, I think they did actually confirm that, yeah, new hairstyles are coming, just maybe not yet at the character creator screen. So, I mean, maybe you have to learn them. Maybe you have to unlock, I don't know. Even though there was kind of not that much to do, it was crazy how fast the 6 hours flew by. Like, I mean, all there was to do was, like, practice on a training dummy with jobs, go to one dungeon, and, like, run around 3 zones. So, but, I mean, I still felt like I ran out of time. And there was still stuff that there was one thing I didn't get to do. There was a hunt a hunt boss that everyone could go do, but I was just so busy with all the job stuff, trying to look at all the different changes for the jobs. At the very, very end of the session, they're like, "Hey, Zepla, it's time to go. It's time to log off." And I'm like, they're like, "Can you please just log out? Just stop. You can stop now." I'm like, okay, let me just do another email. Just do like another. They're like, yeah. So I definitely went like right up to the very, very end of the session, and I tried to squeeze all the good that I could get out of it, and so I can't wait to play. It seems, you know, to have all the hallmarks that we might normally expect from a high quality Final Fantasy 14 expansion. Like there's nothing that I'm really worried about at all, except maybe lots of people playing Sage that do not know how to play it and are gonna struggle. We're gonna struggle to heal the rest of us. But maybe Sage is actually not that hard at all, and I just need to spend some more time on it. That's completely possible and likely. So that's all for my first thoughts for the media tour. I just obviously really wanted to give you my most freshest initial feelings on it, and I hope that you will stay tuned to the channel for all of the other videos that I will be working on very hard over the next couple of weeks trying to compile all of the information, all the notes that I made, and all that to make some helpful and informative videos about the new jobs and all the other new stuff from Endwalker. Okay, I've rambled on long enough. I thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, please consider supporting the channel on Patreon or on Twitch. You can also support the channel for free just by clicking the subscribe button or by sharing this video with your fellow Warriors of Light. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.